Welcome to the Khard and Kulture podcast, a place where authors and readers talk about their favorite things, books. This podcast is brought to you by the WILDKHARD Reading Club, a book club with readers spanning the breadth of the African continent. My name is Tomide Abdul-Kudus, and I am here with my co-host Shammah.
Hi guys.
Today we have an amazing guest with us. He's an aspiring medical doctor, and as I like to call him, a man with a complicated mind. Listen to Osebius Odira talk about his action novel, ANOWERS, on this episode.
No, I always laugh when people ask me what inspired this, and I always give different answers too, because there was not a single moment that I woke up and was like, yes, I'm going to write a book about 26 assassins. I would say it just came from fragments of things that built up and culminated into the writing experience of ANOWERS. So when I talk about what inspired this, I'll talk about, first of all, I had the zeal to write something African, because when I was small, when I was little, I and my brother and my friends would debate who is stronger between Spider-Man and Superman, Hulk and Iron Man. And I wanted to create something like that, characters that people would compare and debate and even defend. So I would say that was one of the inspiration for ANOWERS, trying to create something. The irony is that instead of superheroes, I created villains, but not just villains, people with depth and emotions that people can actually, resonate with. And then another inspiration came out of, maybe the political situation of the country. So I just dig deep into my imagination and just thought of something and brought it up to, So I would say so many different things inspired ANOWERS, but it was not a single moment. Yeah.
So you mean was one of those things, because while I was researching you online, I saw this Instagram post where you had this afro and you had this shirt that you had buttoned down to the middle, unbuttoned down to the middle of your chest. That one, you have to show. So was that part of the inspirations?
No, that was no, that was off tangent. That was just a photo shoot. I just had this. I just had the vibes of trying to recreate something from the 70s and from the oldies, and that photo shoot was just that. It had nothing to do with ANOWERS. I didn't even know then that I would write ANOWERS when I was taking that shoot. Funny enough.
Oh, how many years ago was that picture from? Because I have that picture saved.
that was 2024. That was 2024.
Oh, okay. So you started writing ANOWERS before 2024. How long did it take you to write the book?
I started writing ANOWERS November 2024. But when I started the year, I didn't know that I would start writing ANOWERS then, because I had already started writing a book. It was a romance book. It's completely different. I had gone far with it. ANOWERS, because I'm a very spontaneous person. ANOWERS just it was just kind of out of the blue. I just woke up one day and just felt like writing it, because it's a story that has lived in my head for a while, and I always felt like, because it's a very complicated story, it's very complex, so I always felt like I will write it when when I'm a better writer, when I've grown in this fiction stuff. But I just woke up one day and was like, let me just write it, and I just started writing it and didn't stop until I finished.
Okay, that's great. I mean, honestly, that's very freeing, because now if a lot of times, there are a lot of things that just come with writing, some heavy-handed things. Like personally, I overthink. So that's why before I write a novel, if I write a novel in this life, know that everything in this life is possible the day I finish that novel. Because and everything. But then, for such a short time, you say it has stayed in your head there. I was very curious about how you came up with the 26 character names, because 26 is a lot of numbers, right?
Yeah.
And did you always remember them? Did you write them down somewhere? Did you have a reference character Bible that you always had to go back to? Or your memory is just very, very sharp?
The story, like I said, the story has been in my head for a while, but it was not clear. It was very blurry. So the night before I started writing ANOWERS, I got the picture became clearer. I got this clarity that because I had actually wanted assassins. I just wanted a large number of assassins, like 30, 40 assassins together that just kill for a living, and their family. That was the idea in my head. That was the idea in my head then. Well, I was wondering, 30, 40 assassins are a bit much. There needs to be a connection, something that would feel, like a reading. And that was when the idea of alphabet came into place, and 26 alphabets, 26 assassins. So it just clicked. And I felt like it was because of this excitement, because of this click, that I started writing it the next day. So before I started writing it, I wrote down names from A to Z, A, B, C, random names. And it was a hard task. I won't even come here and pretend or say, oh, it was easy. No, I was sometimes when I want to write about a letter, I'll forget the name and go back. And also, what even complicated things further was because I chose random names. I chose Hausa names, Igbo names, Yoruba names. Different names. And when I submitted it to my editor for a review, she was like, oh, these names are so random. There needs to be a connection. They need to have a root, something that connects them together. So that's why I used 13 Irish names and 13 Igbo names, since their father Ebuka Wonan was an Igbo man and an Irish man as well.
So many questions coming from that little detail. All of them were actually related by family. I mean, he literally adopts like all of these children. And I'm wondering, like, what do family and loyalty truly mean in a world where, like, both are constructed and controlled? Like, he constructed his family. It's not something that, arose because of some sort of biological need that, a lot of people, like, a lot of families arise these days. And then this loyalty was engineered. So, like, what do these things truly mean in that kind of world where, like, these things are constructed and controlled? One. And then how should readers interpret loyalty in this book? Such constructed loyalty now. Is it strength? Is it manipulation? Like,
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question. So, Ebuka blurred the lines between love and loyalty because he raised them in a world like he raised them. It's kind of like a dystopian society where he raised them in an underground world different from what society would look like. So they didn't have a taste of what a familiar setting is. So the border between loyalty and love was very blurred because he raised them with that twisted form of love where he provided structure, where he provided purpose. So they saw him as their all in all. So he raised them into that control. He became their world. And when someone is your world, you don't question it. You depend on them. So that was how he was able to balance, the love and manipulation. It was not separate for him. And when they finally started, when the character started developing, they found out, oh, this is not love. This is actually manipulation. Max starts love. And then for your second question, in the book, I deliberately leave these core tensions, these delicate topics for readers to wrestle with. Like the book explores a lot of uncomfortable and morally complex ideas. So instead of telling readers what to think, I just let them decide what feels right or wrong for them. I actually enjoy seeing people, interpret the same situations differently and even argue their perspectives, because it starts off as loyalty. Because when it comes to loyalty, it starts off as a virtue, but then you slowly see that it was engineered. You slowly see that they shouldn't believe that they are loyal out of love, but they are loyal out of manipulation, not out of love. So the big question now becomes, if it's still loyalty, if a choice was never given.
Oh, okay. So is this loyalty if a choice was
never given? Yes.
That's an interesting question. I see that you are asking instead of answering.
I like leaving readers to debate within themselves and just come up with their own version of what they think is best.
Just following the line of family, I think throughout I saw you exploring themes of of course, we've talked about like loyalty, we've talked about like, what the true shape of love and where it arises from. There was also dependence, control. I was wondering, like, in what other things were you very, very interested in exploring through the concept of family, aside, like, is the more obvious ones? So,
yeah, like I said, I talked about a lot of things. Besides loyalty, I talked about morality. Like, what really is moral? Is moral what you learn? Or is it what you are taught to believe? I also talked about the physical intimacy the children had. Was it something that would generally arise because they had no other option, or is that fundamentally wrong to be attracted to someone you're related to? I explored the concept of homosexualism too in the book. Like, so I deliberately picked so many controversial topics and just laid out and just laid it out for readers to think to or to consume and come up with an interpretation of what they think is best in the book without really giving them a lure in on which direction to follow.
I can see that readers, you people have a lot of work to do, But then down to the characters, I mean, surely there must have been like a character or two that surprised you while you were writing them. Yeah, because I mean, 26 characters, I think that sounds like a labyrinth of surprises, of unexpected things. So yeah, let's hear, what were the characters that surprised you?
Characters that surprised me a lot. Keleke surprised me. I know I didn't explore her much because I don't know how to say this without giving spoiler. But just without context, I will just mention the characters that surprised me. Then maybe for those who haven't read the book, if they read it, they'll get to understand hopefully why they surprised me. So Evian surprised me. Her full name is Everyone. She surprised me. Keleke surprised me. These two, they surprised me. I let the characters flow. I didn't decide for them.
Yeah, it shows they surprise you because writing a character is like digging ground. You don't know what you find.
It's like you form the foundation, and then you cannot go away from the foundation. You just watch it go because you're no longer the architect. They now have a mind of their own. So whatever decision they take is theirs.
I'm really curious as to your process to approaching, writing such a large cast. I mean, you mentioned like, having a list. And at the beginning, I was also wondering like a character Bible because like now first, because especially when you're dealing with characters, you now first have like at least 30 characters inside this book, at least. And then you now have to kind of like keep track of their likes, their dislikes, their descriptions, keep track of their journeys through the story. So how did you approach it? Like, what was your process? Did you use any rubrics? Whether did you go to one mountain and then Rain beat you and you were like, so Rain will beat this character someday?
No. Actually, before I started the book, I wrote down the 26 characters. Like the 26 children are like the major characters in the book. So I wrote them down. I wrote down their personality. I make sure I form their distinct personalities first before writing the book, so that when I started writing the book, the conversations they had, it's kind of showed. They kind of showed who they were when they talked and with the actions they took, so that you know that okay, this personality is aligned with this person. So it's in such a way that if you say hypocrisy, if you just mention hypocrisy, readers will get a context of who you're talking about because they know who aligns with this kind of personality.
That's a great one. So yeah, at video we're just talking about approaching characters.
Yeah. I have a question about Ebuka Ronan. Like that's why I said the guy's mind is not normal. Small psychopath, did you? Because how did you manage to make Ebuka Ronan such an influential person while keeping readers in the dark about his past and who he became?
So yeah, Ebuka's character is one of the most complex characters out there. I saw there's this theory that goes on that to be able to write about psychopaths like that, you have to have a little bit of psychopathic tendencies in you.
I agree, and I hear you. I agree, and I hear you.
I do not agree to that. No. But with Ebuka, I just tried to make readers to feel his presence, so that when he finally made an entrance, you almost feel it like he's there with you. And with Ebuka, I also try to make sure that in his mind, he doesn't see himself as the villain, because that's the most complicated part of it. When you don't see yourself as a villain, when you see yourself as doing the right thing, even if in a very twisted way. So to him, I kind of hinted that he was a victim of the system. So he decided to create a means whereby he can escape the system and become, autocratic leader like that. And that was what he did with his 26 assassins. He basically created a world for himself, brought in children for himself, created them and imputed them with the delusion of love that he gave them, like rather than the manipulation of what it actually was, and just created a world for himself where he saw that he was actually making the world better. In his head, he was actually making the world better.
Not to give away spoilers, but that man was a psychopath. I'm sorry to whoever is listening to this podcast. I might give away a little because I can't hold it back. That man looked for siblings A, B, C, D, E, F, G down to Z and made sure that he was wiping away their generation. So if I look for you, I wipe away your siblings, your parents, so nobody can come to find you. And you're telling me he was a good no. That man was a proper psychopath. And how do you
In his
write a
head,
character like that?
in his head, he
And in
was
the
doing the
beginning, I
right
was
thing.
liking the man. That's what's paining me the most, because you made me like the man, only to realize that I should have been fearing the man.
That's the own definition of making sure that there is no connection with the outside world, making sure he has full ownership of these. I'll call them instruments, because in his definition, they're not children, they're instruments. Making sure he had
Oh
full
yeah,
ownership of these instruments.
they are instruments, because he was a father figure in their eyes, but he was a monster to his fellow, whether chiefs or politicians that he was meeting with. He was a loving father to them, but with time they realized he was a manipulative authority. That's another thing. How were you able to balance portraying Ebuka as both a father figure in the siblings' eye and a manipulative authority? Because they knew he was their father, or they believed he is their father, and they also knew with time that he was manipulating them. So both were
Yeah,
happening at the same time. How were you able to
yeah,
balance that? And this guy, you sure
yeah,
you should
yeah.
be in medical school? Maybe you enter Nsukka or enter UNN. Maybe you go find where Chimamanda writes or where Chinua Achebe writes. Make you continue from there.
So yeah, I think I'm giving the like I said, Ebuka created a world for himself. Like he provided structure and purpose to the children. And when you make people depend on you like that, they start saying love. Like the line between love and manipulation gets blurred. So they start seeing manipulation as love, because you are all that they have ever known. They do not know what is good or bad. What they know is what you say. So with that, they just take it as love, because to them that's what love is. That's the definition of love you've shown them.
But in dictionary, that's more or less grooming, because he took them as kids. So
Yes,
he groomed them.
yes, exactly. He groomed them. That was how he was able to balance love and manipulation. That's why some of them did not know that it was actually manipulation until they started stepping out of the house. They started seeing things for themselves. They started seeing
Start having
what.
boyfriends, avoid
They said,
relationship.
well, in this case, relationship helps them.
Like, relationship where you organize incest inside. Of course, I never dragged you for that one. Well, it's technically it's not incest, because they are not real siblings. So, fair.
Well,
But
it's
now
not. It's not.
who you sabi as your brother, and I be your brother. I'll maybe only with the born you into.
I would I don't think I would ever answer the question of if it's incest or not, because I think I not to take pride in myself, but I feel like whatever I say would not be looked at as the bone of contention or as the final answer, because I left it deliberately to. I left it deliberately for people to argue at their perspective if it's incest or not. I don't even know if it's incest or not, because that's all they have ever known. That's what they grew up with. So I feel like it's natural that when you grow up in a place, you start getting attracted to who you see there when you don't see any other person.
Now, why people they fall in love for NYC camp now? Still go enter camp. It's small 3 weeks. People they full blown relationship after like 4-5 days.
You see, they
Fair.
imagine people that have stayed together for like 20 years plus.
Fair enough. I agree with you. Well, thank you for throwing more light to Ebuka.
But yeah, talking about that moral complexity, about because we touched on it a little bit. Did you hope to spark any conversations with that, the whole, oh my God, is this incest or not? Or, all of those controversial relations in the book? What conversations were you hoping to spark?
I just wanted to let readers decide for themselves what is right or wrong. Let them interpret what they feel is the right thing to do. And basically, with every morally complex theme in the book, it's something laid out for readers to say, okay, take and decide for yourself. Because some books would actually spell out, okay, this is wrong, this is incest. Some book would actually spell out, oh, this is not wrong. But what I just did was just lay it out in a platform for them to pick it up and debate for themselves. It's kind of gives a room to hear different talking points, to hear perspectives, and this is what I enjoy the most. I would say this is what I enjoy the most about ANOWERS, seeing people argue their perspectives, because it's easy to take either side. It's easy to say, oh, it's incest. It's easy to say it's not, and then that's the beauty of it all.
I mean, that enriches the post-narrative space, and so yeah, I can see that. why was it now very
More like he
important
left.
for the story to unfold through Yara and Zachary's diaries? Because you had like 24 other characters, right? And so why this specific two?
I chose those two because they were the two youngest, and as the two
Oh.
youngest, it's kind of they had
There was just
very
one day. There was just one day between them. Was it not one day?
contradicting experiences in the same house, because I made it in such a way that both of them were last borns brought in at the same time of the day, on the same day. So the hierarchical order of seniority, they didn't apply to them because no one seniored themselves with hours, but with any hours. So, but the siblings treated Zachary as the last born and Yara as, well, not the last born because she was Y and Zachary was Z. So I really wanted to I wanted to write it in such a way that the two youngest describe their different experiences, because Yara was feeling lonely and isolated and left out. Zachary was filled with love and care and like everything a last born should have. So I wanted to, because the truth is never one sided. So I wanted the two people to explain their experiences, the different nuances that the siblings treated them with.
Okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
Okay,
But
super,
I don't
super,
agree
super.
that
I think
people are not
that
people are
really
not
set the
age mates
story.
too.
Yeah,
Even if you're a
but
twin,
something
there's
I
a
knew I
first and a
tried
second
doing was, describing
every time.
the same moment and like describing the same moment, the same experience they had, and writing it in their two different interpretations. Because the way someone would interpret something that happened is not the same way another person will interpret the exact same thing. So yeah, that's about answers the question about Y and Z, why I chose Y and Z.
You think I carry?
That's true.
Mba
Tomide, you have a
Amachina.
question?
And I think you asked me something about the diary entries as well, right? Why I
Let's
use
Oh,
try by
diary
one load.
entries.
I'm telling you load.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like why
because to be
diary
honest,
entries? Okay, I understand that diary entries allow you to like get into the character's mind. But I found out that there was something different that you did, and I wanted to ask what was it?
I actually wanted to tell this story as a third person narration. But I started the book that way in the prologue. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
continue it that way. But I found out that with diary entries it feels more personal. It
Mm-hmm.
feels less like a story you're being told and more like you're stepping into their private thoughts. Like you are not supposed to be here, you're not supposed to be reading this. It makes it more engulfing in a way.
I see. That's great. So, I mean, it's very action packed, and I haven't read an action book in a while. I think because I think the age when I was reading action, I'm not like old now like this. If you give me Born Legacy to read, I'll vex. But yeah, what books did you read that like served as inspirations to write this? And in fact, like for a scene like ours where we are much more contemporary, we're much more literary, and probably like
Yeah,
if you are
yeah,
going to do anything self, anything risky self, highest way you could do is crime and maybe some sort of weird fantasy.
yeah.
What books inspired you to write these books, and why this specific kind of work? Why did you decide to drop it now in the midst of the epistolary Nigerian novel, or in the midst of the regular Nigerian novel
Yeah,
revolution?
that's a very good question. And funny enough, I'm such a romantic freak. Like prior
Oh.
to this, I always consume romance books. Like my best books are romance novels. I will consume anything
Hmm.
by Emily Henry, Ali Hazelwood. So coming from this to just write about something so serious like action and thriller and crime, it was kind of a big step for me. So I had to consume a lot of movies and books. I had to watch a lot of violence. I think I started exploring assassins more. I watched this. There
Wow.
was this movie I watched. There was this sniper stuff. This sniper series. The Day of the Jackal. Yes, I watched that movie first, and then I read Killers of a Certain Age. It's a book about assassins. And I also read the Mindfuck series. I would say the Mindfuck series really, really helped me shape ANOWERS, even Killers of a Certain Age. Because this book explored, thrillers, but they did it in a very unique way that I was hoping to do. They they talked about thriller, but also inculcated elements of humor in the thriller. So you get that the book is a serious book, but you have a very few hilarious moments where you just laugh out loud to between the characters, and that was what I was aiming for with ANOWERS. I wanted to make the children very little, but at the same time, they are cracking jokes amongst themselves. Like it's not that serious. Like this is something we've been doing our whole lives. So you see scenarios where they have a very important mission the next day, but the day before they are arguing about who gets the last slice of pizza, that kind of stuff.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
And
You
I
said
also
you had to
cannot.
watch lots of violence. Is that?
Yeah. I also cannot, not talk about books I read without talking about the Ministry of Time. It's not exactly a thriller in a way, but the Ministry of Time was a book that I really really enjoyed when writing a novel. Like it's a book I really really enjoyed and helped me shape the comical aspects of ANOWERS.
I see that. I could see that Ministry of Time. I should pick that up because like my
Yeah,
diet
because
for thrillers is poor.
it explored so many
Yeah.
genres in one, with romance, thriller, comedy, everything is in that book. And that was what I was aiming for.
Okay, thank you everyone. Closing mask, close your eyes, get on your knees, open
So
your
yeah,
mouth.
you take the last two questions. We have two questions to the close, so I think you should take it.
Yeah, I'll add one more to you too.
No problem.
No
On
problem.
knees.
Ask away.
What is one thing you always wish that interviewers would ask you about this your book, but they never do?
No, I haven't thought about this really before. I haven't thought about a question that I would want to talk about the book, because I feel like the book itself is very diverse. So I feel like asking about any element of the book is enough for me. I could gladly talk about any theme in the book. So there is not a particular one that I know I want. Oh, I want to talk about this now.
Okay, fair enough. I like that I caught you unaware. That's the same thing doctors do to people. You go and you say you have a headache and they start asking you when last were you sexually active. Now they give me a headache.
Wow.
From where to where? In front of my mother.
You find out
So,
about student doctors mostly.
Fair.
Yeah.
For my last question for today, my own last question. Shammah never has a last question, so I'm sorry that you're going to enter his hands very soon. For my own last question, if a listener is to take just one sentence away from this episode, what do you want that sentence to be? Now, it could be a very long sentence, but the moment the full stop comes, that's the end of the sentence.
Yeah, I wanted to say that. I wanted to say that now, because I would want to make a sentence, but get carried away and start giving a very long episode.
As long as
but
you
the
don't
one
give a
thing I
full
would
stop.
want, okay, the one thing I would want listeners to take away from this is that just because something feels right doesn't mean it's right. Question what you've been taught, question what you are loyal to, and most importantly, understand why you do what you do. That's basically ANOWERS.
Fair. Do you want to tell us that the acronym for ANOWERS again as like my own parting gift?
Oh, Assassins, not short for Organized Welfare by Ebuka Hona.
I said the guy in a madman, Sha, but okay.
Like he's so self-absorbed.
I'm telling you.
Damn.
I'm telling you.
What?
Now you're talking about what I wish. Now you're talking about what I wish interviewers asked me. I wish you would ask me which came first, like the acronym or the word ANOWERS, like how I came across, how I came to it.
Early in the interview, you talked about book 2. So when can we expect this book 2, and what stage are you in? As you have now dropped book now like this, are you assembling a team of like super Avengers for team 2? Because like we just want to know in case when you are going to do applications like that, we know which address to send, just for asking purposes.
Yeah. So the book 2, I had in mind to be done. I'm supposed to be done with the second book by now. Funny enough, I was supposed to be done by the first quarter of the year. So I'll spend the next quarter of the year, editing and reviewing and all those stuff. But funny enough, I haven't even written up to half of the book, because after I was done with my 14 BPS, I thought that I would have an elongated break where I would calm down and finish the book. But barely 2 weeks we resumed for final year. So when I said medical school was killing me, this is what I was talking about. There is no chance that I'm struggling to find space to write the book. Well, it's definitely going to be ready before the end of the year. That's for sure. That's what I can say for sure. I hope it's not a long time.
Okay, we'll take that. I mean, if you need any help from readers and stuff, now we are always here now. And you know that we are your favorite book club, so
Yes, funny enough, you are my first beta readers. You are my first. So I made a lot of friends. Yeah.
Don't loud it. It's not like we are being proud, but we'll make sure that we put this at the beginning. We edit this one at the beginning of the. But we're not being proud, just just for the sake of it.
Okay, yeah, it's been fun, and I think it was a great read, and I really can't wait for the second book. The essential Nigerian experience is to come. And you go through life, you go through a bad government. You are always battling whether you are reaching your true potential or not. That we forget that we can actually just quit the Nigerian game and go and just do something completely weird. And I think ANOWERS was something I was like, you know what? Maybe like in the midst of all of these Tinubu things, there's actually this space for me to catch some children and train them into assassins. And I can do it and nobody will touch me. There's actually still space for that in the world as a Nigerian and everything that is going on. And I was like, you know what? Even if I can't do it at that level, Odira Osebius is doing that as a writer, where like he just wrote a novel and there's a guy that has 26 assassins, and you are reading it and you're like, oh wow, this can work. Sort of like expanding and creating pockets within the space of our reality. So yeah, it's a whole mouthful, but yeah, that's sort of things I felt about the book. So well done from me, man. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Well done. Thank you so much for sharing your gift with us. Thank you for sharing it with the world. I mean, I'm sure you've been on top of the world because the reactions on social media has been really, really impressive, and you don't get such reaction if people do not like the book. Only your medical school students, your medical school classmates would lie to you. Others would not lie to you. So for strangers to tell you you've been doing a good job, I promise you have been doing a good job, and we're expecting the second book. Now, please don't fall into that trap of the Nigerian people where the second book becomes the second book. Let the second book be the second book.
So it's definitely way. Yeah, I promise you, it's going to be very unexpected. Let me use the word unexpected to describe it.
No problem. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being on the podcast. This is the best podcast you can get at African literature. We're not bragging, but okay. When you're done listening, it's your choice to decide if it is the best or not the best. It is the best podcast to be. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.